Welcome in, along with Eric Eager. I'm Steve Palazzolo. Today discussing the best teams in college football with a special focus on who the number 3 team is in the nation. We have Alabama at number 1, Clemson at number 2. It's all brought to you by Eckrich, the official smoked sausage of the college football playoff. Now, Eric, we run through the numbers every single week. We've talked about Alabama 1, Clemson number 2, and then the debate starts. Who's 3 through 6, really? Got a few teams really vying for that spot. In our current rankings, we have Georgia at number 3. What does that mean? Because that probably surprises some people given their bad loss to LSU.
Yeah, the LSU, though, a top 10 team in our rating system, so it doesn't drop them that far. For us, it really is about, the fact that this rating at 3 tells us that they have a better shot against Alabama in the title game than people think that they do, as opposed to we think that they're going to finish 3 at the end of the year, because we only have them about a 41% chance to beat Alabama in that game. They're a strong team offensively, middle of the pack defensively. So, I think for right now, 3 is a good place for them. But, in the future, we probably will see a team like Notre Dame, Michigan, or Oklahoma, go over the top of them just because of what probably will happen at the hands of the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, so the rating system that we have here, it's based not just on wins and loss resume, but how well you played. So I kind of like the way you put that. Georgia has a better shot to beat Alabama in, say, on a neutral field, say, as the SEC championship will be, so they have a better shot than, say, Notre Dame or Michigan or Oklahoma in our current numbers. But as far as projecting the college football playoff, we still think Alabama will beat Georgia. How far will that drop them in our rankings, assuming things go, as expected? Alabama wins, I think, pretty handily.
Yeah, I think it has an opportunity to drop them all the way out of the college football playoff, just because you look at the teams that are coming up here, Michigan, Notre Dame, 2 teams that, Michigan's giving up negative .4 expected points added per early down passing play, which is best in the Big Ten and one of the best in the country. Notre Dame's actually not that far behind, so they're going to be teams that I think can compete, and that's really what you want in the college football playoff. Georgia a little bit worse than that, so if they lose, it might be a better prospect to put a Notre Dame team in there or a Michigan team that's going to have to go on the road and play Ohio State later in the season. So I think those 2 teams will probably have better chances, better resumes, better odds to go to the college football playoff should Georgia lose this one.
I'm going to go with a delicate touch. Over the treehouse, off the trampoline, through the target. Boom, beat that. I'm about to. I'm going off the rebound net, off the porch column, straight through the target while I go down the slide. You got no shot.
The Eckrich $1 Million Challenge is back. Enter at EckrichFootball.com for your chance to win.
Where's the wind? Yeah, it's really howling out.
So between Georgia, Notre Dame, Michigan, then Oklahoma, we have Oklahoma number 6. Is it really just their defense at this point holding them down? Because we talked about Notre Dame's defense is really good, Michigan's defense is really good, Oklahoma, other end of the spectrum.
Oklahoma is generating half of an expected point every early down that they throw, which is outrageous. It's almost 60% of their early down pass plays are successful. So it's nothing to do with their offense. Their defense, though, is almost as bad as their offense is good.
Their offense is really good
in terms of efficiency. So, in terms of like when they get in, if they were to get in the playoff, would they be able to compete? I just don't necessarily think so against teams with the strength of Alabama or Clemson or one of these other sort of tougher teams in Michigan or Notre Dame.
We've seen this in past years where Oklahoma rolls in there with a very good offense, with a subpar defense, and they do get exposed when it comes to the playoff. So when we go to what we think our expected 4 will be, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, then Michigan, who has the best shot then to knock off Alabama? Is it a clear Clemson, or do Notre Dame and Michigan, with their defenses, does that at least give them a shot against Alabama? I kind of worry about Notre Dame and Michigan's offenses when it gets to play in those top teams.
Yeah, and I think we even saw that when Notre Dame played Michigan, right? Both defenses played extremely well, both offenses, and I know Notre Dame had a different quarterback at the time, but both offenses struggled to move the ball, struggled to score if they didn't get a short field via a turnover, and I think that still will be the case. I still think against a team like Alabama, those 2 teams will do their part defensively, much like LSU did against Alabama, but they might not be able to score.
So there you have it. We're going through our top 3 teams, the number 3 team in the country. Right now we have Georgia, but not expecting it to stay that way in the future. It's all been brought to you by Eckrich, the official smoked sausage of the college football playoff. Don't forget to get to your local grocery store for this weekend's tailgate or home gate party. Be sure to visit eckridgefootball.com for great game day recipes and to enter their season-long $1 Million Challenge.